Hello everyone, this is Mr. Buell. Today we're going to be talking about how we can pick out just right books for us to read. Now, picking out just right book is going to be very important for us to do because when it comes to picking out just right books, it's going to help us find books that are not too easy, not too hard for us, but rather they're just right. They're going to give us a challenge. And when we have a challenge, we're going to be able to continually grow and get better at our reading. So that's what we're going to focus on when we're trying to figure out. So to do that, today I'm going to be talking about how you're going to be getting on Sora since it's a ebook service and since some of us do not have access to physical collections. That is what we're going to, I'm going to first focus on how to get into. Then we're going to talk about what we can do to pick out a just right book and doing our worksheet that we've been using to help us figure out doing our just right book. So, to get into Sora, I have a link here with your worksheet. So when you click on it, it's going to bring up to ask you to go to your school. Now, if it says my school is O2C BOCES, you can click on it, and you can start signing your school, and you click on Cortland, and click sign using Cortland City School District. But if it doesn't bring you to this, you're going to have to find my school or switch schools depending on whichever one comes up. Now, if the screen comes up like this, you're going to have to hit my school isn't listed because, unfortunately, Smith Intermediate is not listed here right now. But we can find it if we click here and type in Smith space I, and this should only bring up Smith Intermediate School in Cortland, New York. Once you click on it, it will bring you to the screen again. And you will click on Cortland City School District. Once you click on this and you go in, it's going to ask you to sign in with Google. Now, you'll use the sign in with Google button on your left side. When you do that, make sure you sign into your school account. Now, once you do that, it should bring up your homepage. So once you get here, what you can do is explore. So when you explore, you're going to try and find a book that you're going to like. So try to see if you can find something you may want to read. Now we have all different places we can look. So if you're not sure what you can search for, you can always search for hot titles here. You can look for popular subjects, see if there's something here that might interest you. Or if you don't see it, maybe you can click Explore All Subjects and see if there's one here that would focus on what you like. You have a lot to choose from. And of course, you can always use the search bar that will be at the top of the Explore to find what you want. Now, in my case, I think I'm going to try to see if I can find a Harry Potter book since I like fantasy books about magic. So, Harry Potter. Once I hit that, it should bring up all the books I have for Harry Potter. So, I have a few here that I can check out. And once I do, now, here's the thing with books from Sora. So, if it says borrow, you have a chance to borrow the book. But sometimes you have to it says place hold. And in that case, you'd have to wait a while before you get the full book. But if you want to see if it is a book that you are going to want to read, once you get it, you can always read a sample here. And when you read a sample, it's just going to bring up the first few pages of the book. And this would be good to help get you an idea if this is going to be a book you want to actually borrow. So in this case, I'm going to read sample of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. All right. So once we get in, we're going to try and go to the first page of the chapter. And let's see. And here we go. All right, so while we're doing this, so one moment. So what we're going to do to tell if this is a just right book is what we're going to do is we're going to use the 5-finger rule, my friends. So remember, the 5-finger rule basically tells us, helps us figure out how many words we do not know in the first few sentences. So we only have to read the first few sentences. So I'm just going to give a demonstration. So when we're doing a five-finger rule, if there are no words that stump you or one word, then it's very likely this is going to be a very easy book for you. It's not going to be just right. Now, if it's going to be a 2 or 3 in the first few sentences, then it's very likely going to be a just right book for you. It's going to be a challenge. 4 is going to be very challenging for you, but it's still doable. So it's up to you if you want to give it a try. If it's 5 or more, then that book is going to be too hard for you. You won't be able to understand it because you won't be able to understand what words were, what are some of the most of the words they're going to be used. So make sure to use the five-finger rule to help you figure out if, by reading the first few sentences, is it going to be a book for you. So, taking a look here, I'm going to just give you an example. So I'm going to use my five-finger rule while I read this. So, reading through this, let's see. It says, the two men, and if I don't know what this is, I'll say blank and say one out of nowhere. A few yards apart in the blank moonlit lane. For a second they stood quite still, wands blank at each other's chests. Then, recognizing each other, they stowed their wands beneath their cloaks and started walking briskly in the same direction. So let's say that those were 3 words I didn't know. In that case, this would be a just right book for me. So that's how you would do it. Now, if I went up to at least 4, maybe I could say this would be a challenging book for me. But if it was 5 or more, then that would be too hard. All right. So that's how you try to find a just right book. Remember, use the five-finger rule in the first few sentences. So in this case, I used the first 2, and going from that, I believe this will be a just right book for me. Now, let's talk about how you're going to do your worksheets. So, if you're doing this and you're talking about your worksheet, what you're going to do is when you open it up, what you're going to do is open to Kami, and once it opens up, this is what we're going to do to help show me that you found a just right book for you, or as close as one to possible. So, let me go in. You're going to write down the title and the author of that book, so Mr. Buell knows which one you chose. Then you're going to write down so remember, use your text boxes for title, author, and for why did you choose this book. So if I were to write this down, I'd write down saying, I chose this because it's a fantasy book, and it's focused on lots of magic, and it's adventurous. So that's why I would write down why I chose this book. And now, when it comes to our next question, it's asking you to record yourself reading the first 2 to 3 sentences of your book. So like I just showed you, if you don't know a word, just say blank. Or if you're having too much trouble with it, you can say blank as well. So this will help you out when trying to find your just right book. So in order to do a recording, you have to go to your comments section here. So you have to go to the comments section. Then you're going to have to change from a text comment to a voice comment. Or if you need to, you can use video comments, as long as I can hear you reading the book. So when you click on it and you put it down, it's automatically going to start recording you when you open it up. So once you are done reading your first few sentences, just hit stop, and it will save your voice comment right there. And Mr. Beal will go through and listen to it to see how well you did. Now, if you need to get rid of it and you want to try again, you just hit the X, and you're ready to go on again. Then you're just going to write down how many times you said blank in those first few sentences, and tell me if it was between 2 to 4. It was 2 to 4, between 2 to 4, so that we know if this is a just right book for you. And then depending on those words, make sure to tell us if that's a just right book. We want to make sure you understand how to tell if a book is a just right book. That's the important thing, because it's going to be up to you to eventually find books that are going to be at your level. So that's the basics of how we're going to be doing finding just right books and how we're trying to show it through this assignment that we have. So if you have any additional questions, make sure to ask me. You can email me or try to call me at Smith to see if we can try, and if we have any problems, we'll see what we can do. All right, so have a good day, my friends, and I hope to see you all next time.